Jojo Siwa and Jesy Nelson, a former reality TV star and child star, and one-fourth of the iconic UK girl group Little Mix. And what do they have in common besides their J names? Two of the most recognizable and worst pop debuts of the 2020s decade, and perhaps of all time. And I feel like both of these debuts share a lot in common. Let's start with the actual content of their transformations. Jesy Nelson began feeling the pressures of being in a girl group due to body image and self-esteem issues. Although many interpreted her statements surrounding leaving the group as her wanting to take time out of the spotlight, what she wanted was to explore music through her own vision. Which is fair, she was in a group for majority of her artistic life. Wanting to explore more is only natural. Jojo, on the other hand, wanted to break away from her over-exaggerated kitty image and redefine her career in the vein of Miley Cyrus. So ultimately, both of their debuts came at a transitional period. And while Karma isn't technically Jojo's debut, it is her debut presenting as a more mature image, or what's intended to be a more mature image. The funny thing is, both of these songs cover similar fields, but from different point of views. One is trying to be a bad girl, and the other is praising her attraction to bad boys. Both are convinced of their own coolness and edginess, but end up feeling a bit try-hard, especially given how late Karma and Boys both feel in terms of trends. I wouldn't say that Boys is a terrible song like Karma is, it just goes nowhere. Certain aspects also don't highlight Jessy's voice well, like I could imagine Ariana Grande singing this song and bringing it to a completely different level. The same can be applied to Karma. I imagine a young Miley Cyrus or Rihanna singing this song and nailing it with the type of effortlessness Jojo Siwa could only dream about. The song turned out to be a 2010s Miley reject. You know your debut is bad when it ignites the career of another artist. Britt Smith, who Karma was passed to after Miley, had a version of Karma ready to go as one of her singles before it got scrapped. The internet dug it up and it trended over the original, and it is genuinely the better version. Can't forget to mention that not only has Boys not aged well due to it being a mundane song, but also it is essentially a tribute to P. Diddy, who even makes a cameo in the video. In lieu of Diddy being caught on camera beating women, as well as various other sexual misconduct lawsuits, this is not someone that you want to be associated with what's supposed to be your grand solo moment, especially when the follow-up single is about domestic violence. Jesy Nelson wouldn't be the only pop star to include P. Diddy in her debut single, but Boys is no TikTok by Kesha. It's not half as good or as fun. TikTok is also not indebted to Diddy's whole shtick like Boys, that literally interpolates a Diddy song. So both of the songs in many ways are indebted to sonic or lyrical themes that have either gone out of fashion or don't mesh well with the artist. Now let's cover the basis of the drama surrounding their debuts. Jesy Nelson, you cannot piss off the people that gave your career life during your debut single. Now for those of you that don't know, there was tension with Jesy and the other Little Mix girls, and many of the members felt Jesy was insensitive about conversations surrounding race and the way she went about things post-breakup. But what angered many fans is that Jesy sat silently while Nicki Minaj went after her former bandmates. You know, it's kind of like the saying, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Little Mix's ethos has always been sisterhood and girl power, so naturally a lot of fans were upset at how she handled the situation, or in this case, didn't handle it. On the other hand, with Jojo and Karma, Jojo just seemed completely socially unaware of how she actually comes across, rather than how she wants to come across, making claims that she wanted to invent a new genre called gay pop and follow in the footsteps of people like Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, and Elton John when it came to being different. In a perfect world, I think Jojo would have liked the response to her transformation to be likened to Billie Eilish's Lunch. Cool, natural, and easy. Or on the other hand, Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl. Inflammatory, divisive, yet an undeniable and well-loved hit. Instead, it was rightfully ripped to shreds for how bad it was, and Jojo paraded around in dark face paint and attire that made her look like she's wearing a WWE Halloween costume instead of the effortless edginess that she wants to go for. More than anything, in both scenarios, none of the music was good or good enough to bypass the gimmicks and controversy. Debuts are a once-in-a-life experience. Some go over well, are commercially successful and well received. Others might be smaller but respectable and might capture an audience. What you get when you fail to do either is Jojo Siwa and Jesy Nelson. I'm sure everyone has heard the term first impressions are everything, and that's especially true in pop music as well. Rarely does an artist get a chance to recapture a debut moment. The sophomore slump is a popular term, but there's not really a name for the slump of a debut, which is why I like to call it the debut downer. A debut downer is the perfect storm of everything going wrong during your debut song. For a pop artist, this might include, but is not limited to, little to no commercial success, particularly if you clearly have a big machine, a big push, high-profile features, yet still didn't break any ground. The most important thing in my eyes though is if the music is good. Commercial success is fleeting, but a good song will always be in rotation by someone, no matter how big or small the artist is. Another thing would be is if there is controversy and the music doesn't survive alongside it. For example, Miley's Wrecking Ball and We Can't Stop, Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl, Baby One More Time by Britney, are examples of songs where the music survived and excelled alongside the controversy. Unlike Karma and Boys, where the controversy overtook the songs and they had no real benefit with their debut. Once again, JoJo's debut literally sparked the career of someone else, and not because they were featured on the song, but because their 2010 version of the song is better than the version officially released by JoJo. It's also interesting that both Jesy Nelson and Jojo Siwa had previous audiences, so they had the opportunity to really capitalize and grow with those audiences instead of completely ostracizing them. One thing that could be said is starting off your music career with a debut downer is there's no way to go but up, or at least in theory there shouldn't be. Jesy Nelson's second single was a stark difference from her debut, a lush Bond meets Billy meets Lana ballad about the tragedy that comes with violent relationships. But due to her debut being less than stellar, less people were willing to tune in, and that's also a ripple effect that can happen. People can pigeonhole you if your debut is bad. Spectacle is pop tradition and a part of the machine, but I think their debuts show that it's not always the easiest way to establish yourself, and there still needs to be a level of finesse and charisma to successfully pull it off.